Well, here we go. The good, the bad, and the ugly of the infrastructure bill and budget reconciliation. Let's talk about it with Senator Bill Hagerty, Republican of Tennessee. Welcome, Mr. Hagerty. We appreciate it very, very much. I'm just reading in some of these, political publications in Washington, D.C., that a lot of your Republican colleagues aren't quite sure about the infrastructure bill. Among the reasons, Senator Hagerty, is they're worried about expanding the deficit and the debt, and they want to see the scoring. And then the Joint Tax Committee, I guess, said you've only got $51 billion in new revenues over the next 10 years. So what do you make of this? I mean, this scoring could be a problem.
I think it could be a real problem, Larry. I think the goal, the stated goal, has been not to increase the deficit, not to increase taxes. But if you think about what's included, first in this infrastructure bill that's been worked on a bipartisan basis, it's a 2,700-page bill. I've got a King James Bible on my desk. It's more than 1,000 pages longer than the King James Bible. There's a lot there to digest, a very short period of time, and the scoring, I think, is an issue here. But the bigger issue is this $3.5 trillion tax and spending spree that Joe Biden wants to push through on us. You are so right. That was really the subject of my riff. Apart from the details of infrastructure, the budget reconciliation bill, Senator Hagerty, this is, the woke workers' green tax spend picture of utopia. That's what they think is going to happen here. And guess what?
And let's not leave inflation out of it.
Right. Inflation, the whole 9 yards. And guess what? It's been tried before in other countries and it fails. I mean, can I just tell you this? A bunch of his senior staff and some cabinet members had dinner with former President Trump last Thursday night at Bedminster. And this is what we told him. The reconciliation bill is the most important bill. This is the so-called transformational bill. It'll have everything in there. For all we know, it'll have immigration, voting rights, who knows, and it has to be stopped. That was the message to President Trump. It has to be stopped.
I agree with you, Larry. This is the transformational component of what Joe Biden has promised America will be a transformation into socialism. And everything that we've heard that will go into this $3.5 trillion bill, and I think that's the low number. A lot of what I've heard is the way they use budget gimmicks here in Washington is actually a much higher number, could be north of $5 trillion. If you add that to the $1.9 trillion that was passed in March, you add it to the $550 that'll come through in the bipartisan infrastructure package, we're talking 3 to 4 times the size of the GDP on a normal year that they're talking about, quote, stimulating the economy with. It's going to be massively inflationary. That's the most pernicious sort of tax that we can impose on America, particularly on the retired folks and the people that are in the lower and middle income.
Investors Business Daily and TIP, that's Raghavan Mayer, they're some of the best pollsters in the country, IBD TIP. They ask about new spending. Will the administration's new spending and tax package, which some experts estimate to be worth $5 trillion, it will be $5 trillion on a 10-year basis, Senator. Will it bring inflation down or worsen it? Remember, Biden said it'll bring inflation down. So overall, 43% said the package will worsen inflation, and 26% said it'll bring it down. How about that? That is a nasty number.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You set economics 101 aside if you're going to believe the claims that Joe Biden is making. This won't have an inherently inflationary impact on the economy. The vast majority of what this total spending is, and again, I'm including the 1.9 that came through in March, all of it getting to somewhere in the $6 to $8 trillion vicinity. This is spending that's going to be inflationary. We've already seen it, Larry. You know that. You saw the money. You saw the shift from May to June. If you annualize that shift in inflation, that annualizes to 12%. That's so far beyond the 2% target that the Fed has set. It's way overshooting right now. And we're talking about dumping a lot more money into the economy.
And we're not going to tax our way into prosperity.
Not at all. Not at all. And that's got to be what's in this $3.5 trillion package. You think about the tax impact. They're going to raise corporate taxes. They're going to make us less competitive again. Raise personal taxes, taxes on small businesses. The death tax, they're going to raise that, making it impossible for farmers and small businesses to pass their business along. And you've seen the talk about what they plan to do with capital gains taxes. That will kill capital investment here in America.
Double the capital gains tax. Yeah. So, sir, all of our Senate friends who have come on this show, and lots of them has, and I'm grateful for that, as you know, I've just suggested this. It's very important to tell folks the job loss consequences of this bill.
Indeed.
And the Tax Foundation has priced it out. The University of Pennsylvania Wharton School has priced it out, their econometric models. And the National Association of Manufacturers with Rice University. Okay, the results show remarkably similar results. About a 1 to 1.5% loss of GDP, total GDP, 1 to 1.5%. So, that's a couple of $1 trillion, maybe $3 trillion. The same loss in employment, which will wind up over 10 years being near 1 million jobs, and the same loss in capital stock. In other words, less business investment spending on new equipment and technology. These polls that we've done with Investors Daily and Technometrica, Ragmeyer, when people hear about the job losses, they revolt against the corporate tax hike and the capital gains. They completely turn around, Senator Hagerty. And I just think that is a message you all need to carry.
I agree with you completely, Larry. We need to continue to carry that message about the devastating impact that these tax hikes would bring. We also need to be talking more, I think, about inflation, the fact that this is going to bring the Green New Deal into play. The Green New Deal, is going to devastate the fossil fuel industry in America, make us less energy independent. That's a question for our national security. That puts us at risk every day. And it's going to increase government dependency at a record level. And again, this is all part of the transforming of America that Joe Biden has promised to deliver to us.
64 mentions of the word equity, Senator. That's what the Women's Independent Forum sent over to me in an email, and I've heard something like that before. Equity that means we're not equal just at the starting line. We have to be equal at the finish line, and if we're not, you got to dole out subsidies to the various groups that are unequal. Isn't that's a big part of the story, probably in both bills?
I would think so. It requires redistribution to obtain that sort of result. Inherently socialist again, and it's going to be devastating to the economy. It's going to kill the incentive to grow the economy. And as you said, it's going to put us on a path to see greater inflation, lower revenues here in America. We're going to see our GDP trimmed. We're going to see job losses, just as you say. So all of this makes complete sense when you think about it from the perspective of a business person like you or me. But to the people that are going to vote for this, they're looking again for this sort of socialist utopia that's going to have devastating economic consequences.
Yeah, socialist utopia, Bulgaria before the Berlin Wall came down. Senator Bill Hagerty, as always, sir, thank you very much for coming on.
Great to be with you, Larry.
See you soon. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.